The Bulk Freight tickets are available now. Click on the link below and sign up.
So what percentage, because you got your own cutting crews that are baling, but then you're also buying from local farmers?
So we're baling about 20 to 30% of what we will actually, buy and sell.
Okay, that other 70 you're buying from local farmers, getting trucked in here. Okay, and we're gonna see today, but like these containers here,
we're gonna see
this
all
processing, you're taking the hay and then putting it into these containers, that gets exported.
Yeah, so we're basically, baling the straw in the field after the combines harvest it. We're, bringing it here, weighing it, storing it, and then we're taking the bales and we're compressing them about 50%. And then we're taking those bales and when we press them, we're also repackaging. So we restrap them, we wrap the bundles for them so they can stack them in their warehouses. Because they got to stack them. They don't have a lot of space in Asia, so they got to stack stuff really high.
Oh, wow.
Like if you go to a gas station there, you'll see tires stacked on the roof, way up high, because they just don't have this space. Everything's up. So our packages have to be really good and uniformed, and then they got to be able to get them out of the container too, because they'll swell, sitting.
Oh,
they'll expand, so the formality of the bales has to be really good. It has to be wrapped really good. And I'm gonna talk about a little bit here this is the first building I built. It didn't look like this at all when I built it. When I bought the property, there was nothing here at all. So when I first started, I rented a little tiny barn, and you could put like 2 semi trucks could park in there, but you had to move one to get out. Like you couldn't get around. So I was out of space like the first summer. And I actually had put some tarp stacks like these ones outside the barn because I ran out of room. And so when I was looking for a piece of property, I was like, I estimate I needed maybe 20 acres. And so I found this property in 2006, and there's like about 20 acres here, and there was nothing here. It was just a field, no power, no water, no anything. And so there's a rock quarry about a mile down the road, and my friend owned it, and he needed to get rid of a bunch of shale, like the strippings. When they blast, they got to take the face of the rock. It's kind of dirty. And so they don't use it, they don't crush it. So I didn't have any money, and he said, hey, here's the deal. I got to get rid of this shale, and I'm gonna have to haul it somewhere to get it out of my pit so I can crush. And he said, I'll just start hauling it down there. I was living in Eugene, and I drove in here, and he had about 300 loads in here already after I bought the property. And so he started putting all the base in for me.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's so many people like that helped me get started, because I never had money to do any of that stuff. And so a lot of what I did when I started was I traded. I mean, I had to pay for the rock. Yeah. He carried me for 5 years on rock.
Wow.
So when we started, there was nothing here. This shop it wasn't a shop, it was a hay barn, and I actually stored hay in it. And we've now just turned it into a shop, and my first press was in this building.
Okay.
So I bought an old press, hay press, and it used to sit right here. And we pressed in here. You can see the difference in the concrete floor, but the old press was right here, and we worked in that little tiny area. And none of this, we just redid this shop. There was nothing in here. We used to bring hay in there, and then this was all open. And Jared, when we framed this in, we should have knocked this shop down and built a new one, because there wasn't a straight wall in here. We'd hit every wall in here with the squeeze. We had to jack the wall up about 6 inches to get it back square. The press was in here. We pressed in here for from 2012, I put the press in here. And then in 16, we had a fire and all these buildings burned.
I remember you talking about that when you were on my podcast. Yeah.
So after that, we rebuilt, we pushed those barns back. And one thing that I'll say is It's interesting how that went down, because I called a friend of mine that had actually a competitor of mine that had a hay press, and he said it'll be okay. And what's crazy is if that fire wouldn't have happened, I actually couldn't even do what I'm doing today, which is so weird how things work out. Those buildings were 48 feet longer. When I rebuilt those buildings, my contractor said, hey, we need to shorten them up because the footings are so big, we can't even put the buildings where they were. That's one reason why we moved because all the concrete footings are in. When we cleaned the building up, we dug one footing out, and it was like 3 foot by 3 foot where they pour the concrete for the post. So we had to move the building spacing, and we actually had to make the barn shorter. By doing that, now we can actually get around the facility. We ended up moving the hay press out back. We reorganized the whole facility.
It's actually made it more efficient.
It made it more efficient. And like, so you never know that at the time of the fire.
It
really, it's not that you ever want that to happen, but it's so interesting how something like that happens and ends up changing, everything. So we were down for about a year after the fire and trying to get everything rebuilt. And we fired the press back up in here and ran. And then last year we started to turn this into a shop. And you can see now we've got like a lube bit we've been working on. We just got that done, and we've been we're putting a motor. This yard goat, we're putting a Cummins reman in it right now.
Because how many trucks do you
I have like 20. We probably have about, I think we're up to like number 27 now, but there's a couple in the we've sold, so we probably have 25.
But then on total pieces of equipment though.
Oh yeah.
Because the shop, the forklifts,
Oh yeah, the thing, well, and the press runs 24 hours a day. So there's always, you show up and there's forklifts broke, stuff out in front of the shop. We have like 25 container chassis around, 23, 25 chassis, and then sets of trailers. I think we have probably around 10 sets of maxis, and then all the forklifts and squeezes. There's 10 to 12, the forklifts and squeezes. There's 2 in front of the shop right now broke down. It's just, honestly, forklifts and squeezes, we spend a lot of time just keeping those going.
How did you get the idea to start this business? You talked about a little bit on the podcast. I remember you talked about going around and like these pivots and, some of these sections that weren't being used. But like, I guess just at high level, how did you figure out that there was a market for, obviously this is a hay area, but really importantly, like figuring out the market in Asia, creating, getting a press and.
So when I was 16, I went to work for a farmer in high school. They actually made me work in the feed store. Okay.
Yeah.
So I worked for Dewey in high school when I was 16.
But your dad wasn't farming?
No, he was in construction.
Okay, so you weren't anything in ag.
So I worked there, and when I was in the feed store, what I was saying is the phone was always ringing, and the fields were small. They were like 5 or 10 acre fields. Yeah. And he couldn't do them. He could do them, but he didn't have time, okay? And so that's when I said, hey, do you think I could do those? And so then I started just doing these 5 and 10 acre fields. And
you're going in there, cutting them,
baling them, and I was getting it for free because it was a nuisance. Nobody wants to do a 5 or 10 acre
And then
field.
You were selling the bales
Then I was just selling the bales. Yep. And I just rented a little barn. It was actually a barn that he stopped using because it wasn't big enough for him to use. And so I rented that barn, and the first year I sold all the hay out of the field. Just come and get it like anybody would anywhere. And then I realized, well, I need to have storage so I can sell this stuff year round. So then I got this little barn and I started storing it in there. And
you said that was early 2000s?
Oh yeah, I worked for him the first year when I was 16, and then 17 is when I think I rented that barn. So I was pretty young. And then I bought a truck when I was maybe 18. We can walk over there. So then this was my first truck 1, and it was black and kind of a beat up old thing. I needed a way to haul bigger loads. I was using a 97 Ford Power Stroke OBS with a flatbed trailer I built to deliver my hay. I could only get 5 ton on it, so then I needed a bigger truck. And I wanted one with a flatbed because we were loading everything by hand and unloading it by hand. So I needed to be able to unhook the pup trailer.
Because back then you're talking loading
we loaded everything by hand.
But what size bales?
70, 80 pound bales.
Yeah.
But then when we start 3 tying, now we're talking 100 and some pound bales. That's when you got to get to a squeeze. That's getting to be too much work. I bought this thing when I was I was probably 18. Bought it out of Ravendale, California. It's got a 400 Cummins, 13 speed.
And this is a what model? This is a
1986 359. And this is the one I just after I'd repainted it, we were in 10-4 magazine with it.
Oh, that's awesome.
It's just an old.
And it
old
still gets
359.
used today. It's still.
Oh yeah, I brought it back from so I took it over to my house in Eastern Oregon because it rains over here so bad. Stuff doesn't like weather good. I always bring it over. I always like to use it in the summertime a couple times just to. It's hard on stuff sitting. Like we had to put new tires on it last year because they're rotten, just from sitting. So
I don't want to jump ahead, but the orange. Tell us about the story with this orange.
So
Because
when
I mean,
I was
you're
in-
very like.
when I was in-
your brand
yeah.
and marketing is awesome.
So I like black, but black's a keep clean. I took my pickup to the car wash this morning because it's so dirty, right? So when I was in high school, we went down to Glamis, down to the sand dunes, and there was a truck down there that was this bright orange. And I saw that color and I thought, man, that looks pretty cool. And so I ended up figuring out what color it was. And I painted it. It was House of Colors Sunset Pearl. Well, House of Colors paint's really expensive. And so I found out real quick that I didn't want to paint anymore. Then you don't want to use house color paint on semi trucks. It's like hot rod stuff and motorcycles and Harleys. So we switched to just a single stage. We use a single stage Emerald. When I bought my first new truck, we got as close as we could to that color in just a standard orange that Peterbilt would, with whatever they had at the factory.
Okay.
And we basically stuck with that color. This is my old hay press. It's over here. We don't use it anymore. But see, that's how we used to just put 3-tie bales in the back side of it here. And 3-tie bales would go down there. We'd cut the string by hand up there, and then it would go in. It's just this one's got just one cylinder where the other one had 2. And then it would do the same process. And then we put this big bale slicer on it when we switched to big bales, and we could cut the big bales down to get them in the press.
What's going to happen to this machine?
A friend of mine in New York wants it. In the coaching group, he was wanting to put it in to compress for domestic.
Oh, wow.
So I think
So people will compress for domestic too?
Yeah.
Just for
shipping costs, I guess. Or he'll buy big bales from like Utah. They'll take them back there and they'll resell those. Better, like higher quality hay than they have back in the East Coast.
Okay.
So I guess, I'm assuming, he's just trying to get the shipping costs down. Probably he sent it to Florida or somewhere maybe. And that's how I got it. I mean, the guy I bought that from, he was taking it out, putting a newer machine in.
One of those machines, like the newer one that you got, just ballpark, if someone were to go buy something like that today.
$3.5 million. About 3.5.
3.5 million?
Yeah, 3.5 is what it would be to try to get that machine probably geared up again.
Why did you get into the coaching? Like, why did you decide to get into and start 10-4 coaching?
I went to some business consulting, like different programs that were not about ag.
And how long ago was that?
That was in 22, I think.
So really not that long ago, 3 or 4 years, okay.
And it was really expensive. I mean, I spent like probably $250,000.
Did somebody tell you to do that, or you just wanted?
No, we had lost a bunch of money back in 20 and 21, and that's when I hired my CFO, and he's the one that taught me accrual accounting. And it took me like 2 years to understand the concept because I just did not understand it.
Yeah.
And I kept telling him, like, it doesn't make any sense. Switch it back. Whatever you did, switch it back. This does not work. And he's like, no, this is why you're having issues, is you're not making money. Like I'm now showing you your true profit, and it's not good. And so once I went through that, I was like, I need to try to help other people learn this concept, because it's not something that's taught or learned unless you're, probably $20 or $30 million revenue company. I thought I could simplify it and teach people how to, do their accounting, on a modified, basically accrual style or cash, just to understand like revenue and expenses in a month period. Honestly, that's the easiest way to put it, because most farmers, any small business, they've got revenue and expenses, and they're not lining up the revenue and the expenses. So that's the process that we had to go through, was like, okay, why are we losing money? And the only way I could see it was on accrual. So when guys come to me and they're like, hey, in the coaching group, they're like, hey, I need to, understand my finances. The biggest challenge that we have is just getting them to use QuickBooks. What I've realized is most of them don't want to see actually how much money they owe people.
Why is that?
Because you don't have the money to pay all your bills.
So it's like you're almost, it, but you're trying not to know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like you purposely know if you do this.
Yeah. Yeah. It's really hard. It's really hard to stay motivated when you look at your financials and you're not making money. Like, I fully know where.
Versus knowing hey, I'm going to catch up someday, or I'll get there.
Yeah. Like right now, guys are asking me, hey, they're like, how's the yield? And I'm like, it's off. And I'm looking at the baler. I'm looking at my bale count monitor. I'm looking in the balers going, I'm pretty sure we're 30-40% of the way, and we're not going to hit the bale count we want to hit. And I already know what that's going to do to my cost per ton to bale, because we have a fixed cost, right? Our payments, we're not going to hit. We haven't had a lot of rain the last couple of months, so our yields are down. But like, I already know what that's going to do to my cost per bale. I have a pretty good idea, like because I know the numbers, I know how that's going to affect the whole next 12 months. When I first looked at it, we were losing $250,000 a month. Yeah.
So how did you change that?
Decrease the amount of volume we were doing.
What you said there earlier, you realized that it wasn't.
Yeah, it wasn't worth it. You just throughput.
Whereas today, I'm just trying to think. With our listeners, it's like they think they can just.
Yeah, you can't push your way through.
Add another truck.
Yeah, you can't. You cannot push your way through it. Yeah, if you're not making money, it's just, you've heard the same. If you have a restaurant and one's losing money, you can't go open 10 more and just, if they're all, the first model has to work, right? You've got to understand where you're at, and there is a revenue, like when you fully see your numbers, there is a revenue target typically you're going to have to meet, right? Because
eventually you're going to get caught if you don't.
Yeah, you can lose money for 6 months and kind of get by and typically cash flow for a while, but at some point it's going to catch you.
I've noticed, like, you get critics out there after you. Like, why? Like, how do you?
Oh, that's just social media.
But why why you're trying to help people?
Well,
I'm trying to help people.
They think that you're trying to make a bunch of money off them. Because there is a lot of scams out there, right? Like, there's a lot of buy my course, this or that. My course on QuickBooks is me screen recording my chart of accounts. So if your bookkeeper wants to go set up her chart of accounts like mine is, I literally screen recorded my chart of accounts and said, here's how my chart of accounts are set up.
Is that what people think, you're selling them a false bill of goods?
No, I think people on mine, not mine, because there's been nothing out there. No one's, we haven't done anything, right, like that. So that's not with mine. I think it's primarily people that look at me, or just kind of try to and it's you're going to get, but here's the deal. It doesn't matter if you've got a chip hauling business and you didn't do social media and you go post on social media, every single person is going to think you're showing off your iron or your equipment. That's the problem.
Well,
people don't understand that you're actually promoting your business to attract. They don't understand the law of attraction, that you have to promote your business to attract customers, vendors, and employees. What'd I do? Miss a bale last night? I stacked that field. My stacker driver got jury duty.
Yeah, you said that.
So, welcome to being the business owner. So I was like, well, I guess I'll stack. Oh, it's good. It's good to actually get out and, I was telling you, for a couple of years I was with the trucking crew.
Yeah.
Because we're always behind. Now we're caught up. But I had to spend a couple of years with them, just seeing why are we?
Well, yeah, you're out there on the front line.
Yeah, why are we so inefficient? You're looking at how we're doing stuff and how we're doing paperwork and how we're doing all this stuff.
How do you keep learning these little tricks of the trade?
Other people.
Yeah.
There's a lot of smart people in this deal, really. If it's in ag, you learn from other people, like a bale or a rake. You watch what other people are doing, and if it's working for them, and it seems like the rakes. I watched one of my competitors was the ones that bought them, and I was like, oh, that's a pretty idea. And I watched him run them, and I was like, did some math, and I was like, I think that makes sense, And even if it costed me a little bit more, getting rid of the employee side, it's so hard to find people.
Yeah.
You can find people, it's qualified people, right?
So were you born and raised in Eugene?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are your parents still around?
Yeah, my dad and mom live in Eugene. And my mom had worked for the school district her whole life. She just retired this year.
Before working that feed store, you were never in ag at all? That's crazy.
No, my dad did construction. My grandpa was like a custom home builder. He'd go build, houses like this, just a custom home, And then my dad did that excavation.
You still talk to your dad?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What's he say about your business?
Well, we don't really get along that well. We get along, I'll call him and me and him can have a conversation, it's fine, but we've had some years where we don't talk for 5 years. So, he's a hard guy.
Why's that?
I think he is jealous. He hasn't changed his life for 30 years. I don't know. It's a really weird deal.
Siblings?
I have a sister who's older than me, is a teacher, and I have a younger brother. Yeah, I just kind of do my own thing. And yeah, it sucks because like you can, I have friends of mine that work with their dad or brother, and they can leave and go and do stuff. There's someone around that and you don't have that when it's not unless you have a straight up true business partner.
Yeah.
Which I don't have. If I leave, it's just me. I mean, I have good employees. Don't get me wrong. But I don't care what anybody says. It's not the same.
No, unless somebody's got skin in the game.
Unless they're 50% owner, and even if they're 50% owner, doesn't mean there's good. They work as hard as the other owner that owns 50%, right? And family's tough too, though. I know. I mean, okay, all of these farms out here are all broke up
from families just splitting off. And what did you think of our conference overall?
Awesome. I think it was put together very well.
How did you value from it?
Well, if you're a speaker, it's all networking. You go and it's no different than being.
But even some of your 10-4 guys were there.
Oh yeah. The thing that people have to understand about events is that you're gonna get something that you didn't expect. So whether you meet people, right? Whether you're gonna make connections that you're never gonna make at home, right? So you physically
or find on the internet.
Yeah, you physically interact with people and you meet people. And just like I said, when I found my programmer at an event, at a car sales training event. So I've met so many people at events, and I haven't been going to events in the last year, and I told my wife, I'm like, I need to go to more events. I don't care what type of event it is. I need to get out and go to more.
Because we all have that same mentality. It's like, man, you got to take away from the family, you got to catch up to work.
It's a cost of going, right? It's, all of this stuff. And so what I've realized is I just have to get out. I have to network. I got to go to an events. And if you get it's not if you're going to get one piece of something. If you meet one person, that's one more connection you had if you wouldn't have went. No, the BulkLoads event was it was clean, it was well put together. You guys had the process dialed in. More vendors need to go and support those type of events.
Yes.
I think that's a big thing. It's even when I throw events, it's hard to get vendors buy-in to a new event.
Yep.
They're used to going to the events that have been around forever,
yep.
right? So I think that any vendors, because what people don't realize is that when you have a new event, you get new people to go to a new event that haven't been to an event. Mm-hmm. There's a whole bunch of people that I talked to at BulkLoads that had never been to an event. It's have you ever been to something like this? You ever been to a conference? Well, no, because it's a different type of conference. Yeah. So it's gonna, it's a different type of industry. So those vendors are going to find people that they didn't find at the farm show or a truck show or somewhere else.
A business like this, what's the exit strategy? Or is there one?
There isn't a very good one. That's the problem. That's what I learned. All of that is the issue.
I mean, and again, those are sensitive topics, but it's a reality. I got to think about it. We're all got to think about it.
So my original plan was when I realized because I didn't know anything about exit strategy because I was only, in my 30s, nor was I ever thinking about exit strategy. And I realized, okay, this thing, I have to have good books to sell it, or there's two options, right? Asset sale. So you line everything up and sell it and you get shit, or you try to sell the business. And to sell the business, you have to have good books. So the exit strategy for something like this would be find the right buyer, right? So you got to find someone that's into farming, that is vertically integrated already into something, so they already understand processing, right, of some sort. So there's nobody. I'm gonna have to find maybe a lot of these companies have sold a foreign investment, unfortunately. All the hay presses that have sold have went to a foreign entity.
Because it's foreign entities.
Chinese, Korean, or
they're
Japanese.
buying it for their own. They're hedging their own.
That's what they're hedging. That's why. So if I want.
It's the same in the grain. Yep. That's happened in grain.
It's the same deal.
Well, Jesse, I can't thank you for letting us come out here and demo this. Dude, this has been such a blessing. And just seeing the full scope of how the operations work. I mean, from the shop out here to the harvesting. And also, I just want to really thank you for investing in us. Coming to our event last year, coming on our podcast, promoting what we're doing. I think it's cool to see other like-minded entrepreneurs and professionals out there that really, it's one thing to have, I mean, we're all here because we have to provide for our families, but you're one of those, you're doing this to help other people and serve other people, and there's very few people out there that do that. So, man, God bless you for doing that.
Thank you, appreciate it. I'm glad you guys brought the whole team out.
Yeah, well, we knew this was going to be a big one, so we wanted to bring out the big guns. Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot. Thanks for coming.
So what are we looking at here?
So this is the hay press.
This is running 24 hours a day?
Yeah, we run 24 hours a day.
How many days a week?
So I can go right here and shut this down. So this stage for us is honestly one of the most important parts of the process.